Hello friends, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. I'm here to help and quite possibly confuse you with the ultimate FPL video. Now, a couple of years ago, I hosted an FPL show, FPL FYI, on the Premier League's official channel. It was glorious. It was a great show. And within that, I had to dive into the FPL community. So when I was thinking about the start of the season, I was starting to think about my FPL team. I started to think, what's a great video that I could put together? And I was thinking the greatest video I could do is to showcase the FPL community, because there are some unbelievable content creators, both on YouTube, just doing podcasts, or on Twitter as well. And so for anyone who's slowly getting into FPL, dive into that content. It's honestly brilliant. So with that in mind, I wanted to bring together maybe the Avengers of the FPL community in terms of content creators and create a ultimate squad. A squad of players chosen by them. So what we're doing in this video is exactly that. I'm going to make some comments on it, of course, along the way. But what we've done is essentially a relay. One person gets to pick, well, it's me first up, gets to pick the first player, and then I pass on the torch with the money that's left over to a FPL content creator. So watch this whole video to make sure that you see your favorite FPL content creator. If you don't know these guys, make sure you go and subscribe to all of them. There's a link in the description for every single one of these guys. Go and check them out because they're all wonderful and incredibly knowledgeable. They're not experts. You don't get experts in FPL, but they do love FPL. So please do consider checking out all of these guys. And at the end of it, of course, I will reveal my starting squad for the FPL season. If you love FPL, and you probably do because you're watching this video, then you are going to absolutely love Ultimate Fan by Beer52. Now, a lot of you guys will remember I was playing Ultimate Fan during the Euros and having a lot of fun with it. Basically, it is fantasy football matched up and married together with opening of packs. Ultimate Fan is completely free to download, so what are you waiting for? You might as well get involved, especially if you're generally into FPL, because there are prizes to be won, money to be won every single week. In game week 1, there is 15 grand to be won. Over the course of the season, £300,000 to be won in a game that is still in its infancy. So if you get in there now, before this becomes huge, then you've got a much better chance of winning. And as I say, it's about your skill as well as opening packs. You've got to pick 5 picks and a team, of course. You've got to pick your captain. You've got to pick your top scorer, but also you open packs. If you do want to get those extra packs and subscribe, it will cost you $4.99 to be a gold member. You can also be a silver member as well, but you're not as likely to get some of those gold rated players. And if you do become a subscriber, there's a whole host of vouchers and benefits that come with this new season. Alongside all the freebies, the favourite added feature that I like about the app this year is the Ultimate Fan Clash, which puts you up against 5 random players each week, and whoever has the most points get themselves a new gold or silver card. So again, if you're playing for free, you've got a massive chance of winning here. I'm building up my squad at the moment. I'm pretty happy with my forward options. Harry Kane, I've got Jamie Vardy, I've got even Neil Maupay. I'm a bit worried about my midfield, but I think in time I'll be able to build a really good squad. And even if I don't, as time goes on, I'm going to be able to trade players to go and get those great signings that I need. Final crucial thing to say is that it doesn't matter if you miss the opening week of the season. There is a brand new prize, big money prize, every single week. So whenever you want to join in, get involved, because that week you can make yourself money like Spencer himself did. It's really very simple. If you're into FPL, you're going to absolutely love Ultimate Fan. It's free to play and it's free to download, so get yourselves involved. Link is in the description. You've got to be over 18 and from the UK or Ireland to play. Good luck with your teams. Okay, let's go. Let the relay begin. I'm going to go first. I'm going to go rogue Mohamed Salah. Of course I'm going to go Mohamed Salah. I got the first pick. You think I'm going to pick anyone else? The guy's got the most points. This is a fact. He's got more points than any other FPL player every season for the last 17 seasons. Don't mess about. Get Mohamed Salah in your team. Yes, he costs a lot. Not my problem because I'm first up. So that's my pick, Mohamed Salah. Obviously, I pass the baton over to Andy from Let's Talk FPL. Don't mess it up.
So my pick is Heung-min Son, 10 million, so pretty difficult to fit in once you've got Salah and Fernandes in the team. But after that Man City game, and let's remember, the Man City are missing quite a few key players at the moment. They might not be available for game week 1. They've got Wolves away, Watford at home, and Palace away. 3 fixtures I think Son can do really well in, especially in game week 3 when Salah's playing Chelsea, so a lot of people aren't going to want to captain him. Son's points per match last year, 6.2. No other player at his price or below beat that. The only ones that did were the likes of Kane, Salah and Fernandes, who are all more expensive. I also don't think it's going to matter whether Kane's there or not. If Kane's there, brilliant. They've got really good link up. We know Son's going to score goals. If Kane's not there, he probably takes over penalty duties and becomes the main man. He's a great pick.
Hi James, for my pick I have gone with Ivan Toney of Brentford. So newly promoted striker, at the moment there aren't that many forwards in around the price of sort of 6 to 6.5 million that we saw a lot of great value come out last season with the likes of Bamford, Watkins, Callum Wilson, and then a bit more you could have paid for the likes of Chris Wood as well. So I think given his season in the Championship and the prices come in at, he has a lot of potential to hit the ground running. A lot of those newly promoted strikers do quite well. We've seen it with Bamford and Pookie in the past couple of seasons. So I'm hoping at 6.5 million he can help us spread the funds a little bit elsewhere, but also provide us a lot of points as well. I'm quite lucky to be second in the picking order. I know a few lower down the list maybe had a bit more of a challenge trying to find a few budget options, but I think Toney at 6.5 could be a really nice option this season.
FPL tips there with a cracking shout of Ivan Toney. Banged in the goals last season. My only concern with Ivan Toney is it going to be a bit like Pookie 2 years ago where he kind of came in, hit the ground running, and then it kind of fell off a cliff? That could happen. All of his goals last season were from inside the box. And so with that in mind, I think this is one where you go and get him for now. And if it works out, great. But if it starts to fall away a little bit, he might be one of those that makes way pretty quick. One player that I would put on your watch list, guys, Adam Armstrong. It's been revealed that he's going to cost 6 million. Just 6 million. So if he hits the ground running and scores goals, which we know he can do, he was fantastic in the Championship as well, then, you know, he's 0.5 less and possibly, some might say, in a better team.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam from the FPL family and I've picked Trent Alexander-Arnold as my pick for this team. Now for me, it is well worth paying premium price tags for the likes of Trent. Last time around, of course, Liverpool were missing key personnel from their defence, and that meant a lack of clean sheets from the boys in red. However, this time around, Van Dijk is back and Liverpool look like they're going to have a more settled defensive unit this season. So more clean sheets coming, hopefully. Last time around, Trent got 8 assists and 2 goals. And I suspect that he will better that this time around, especially in these opening fixtures when Liverpool have perfect opportunity for both clean sheets and attacking returns for Trent. Only 2 defenders beat him in the game last time around. Of course, that was Leeds' Stuart Dallas, who was an out of position defender in the game. And 1 point he was behind his teammate Andrew Robertson. I think they'll swap over this time around and Trent will outscore him, hence picking him for this team.
James, how you doing, mate? Very excited to be involved in this. Look, for me, it's a simple one, really. I'm going nice and early. I've got options. I've got the money. I'm going to spend it. I think the Liverpool double up is some of the best money you can spend this year. That's what I'm looking at in my current drafts. It's going to be Andy Robertson. Get in there, Robbo, bombing down the wing, him and Trent from each side. What can possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong? What could go wrong, Seb? Everyone, go and tweet Seb right now and tell him exactly what he just said to you. What could go wrong? All Liverpool fans, you can put that blame on one man only, Seb. That's Seb. Carmichael Brown, his YouTube channel, there's a link in the description. You want to go check him out. Seb on golf. It's his fault that Robertson's injured. Of course it isn't, but that means that you can actually, for someone who costs quite a lot of money, you can go and get Tsimikas, who's probably going to play left back. If you look at their fixtures, it's pretty exciting for them. That's not their fixtures, obviously. Their fixtures are really, really good for the first sort of 10 games. Of course, Chelsea and Man City in their first 8 games, but aside from that, you could be really excited. And I think most FPL managers want to get their hands on at least 2 Liverpool players for the start of the season.
I've gone for Kai Havertz, Chelsea's number 29, although that might change because Romelu Lukaku's just been signed and I kind of wish I never picked him. But the reason I did go for him, I think he's good value at 8.5 million. He'll score goals, he'll arrive late in the box. I think he's almost going to be Frank Lampard 2.0, a little bit more majestic. I think he'll produce pretty well for Chelsea, and I think Chelsea will do really well. The only problem is Lukaku's now there. and he's probably going to get a lot of goals as well. So it depends how that split happens. But for the early part of the season, I think KH29 is a great shout.
My boy Rambo from FPL FYI, of course. He does FPL stuff on his Twitch, and of course you need to go and follow him as well on Twitter. Kai Havertz is an interesting one because if Lukaku comes through, the big question is, how do they play? The big question is as well, how many times is Kai Havertz going to start for them? I know he will be their regular starter, but with Pulisic and Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi and all these different players, and you're trying to fit them all in, is he a guaranteed starter every single week? What is really interesting and worth keeping an eye on for the season as it progresses is how Lukaku and quite possibly Werner play. Because Lukaku wants to go down that right-hand side a lot of the time. Werner wants to go down that left-hand side, and that leaves a lovely big space for a attacking midfielder who makes lovely runs into the box. That person, of course, will be Kai Havertz. So he could really score some goals. One thing to flag up is fixtures with Chelsea. Look, Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, Man City, Villa in the first 6 game weeks. That's going to make it hard for them. But if you believe in Kai Havertz, 8.5 million is a good price.
Hi folks, FPL General here with my pick for the relay team. When I was presented with the scenario, Ivan Toney was the only striker up front, so I've added a second striker, Michail Antonio. He's the only striker who has been in all of my FPL draft so far. Watkins was on my mind, but once Danny Ings signed, he was out the window, so Michail Antonio gets my spot for the relay team.
Yes guys, as much as we would love premiums aplenty, we just can't this season. We need some budget enablers from £4.5 million men, and Joel Veltman's your man. Why? Well, Brighton have really nice fixtures, we like that. We could see Veltman playing as right wing back when Lamptey is out. We saw that at times last season. That could mean attacking returns. But also guys, if you look at teams underperformed last season, Brighton are right up there. Only Man City and Chelsea conceded fewer big chances against them. Brighton deserve more clean sheets, and this season they're going to get them. Joel Veltman's your man at 4.5.
Hi guys, I'm FPL Nymfria and my pick is Ollie Watkins. So I made this pick before Villa signed Danny Ings out of absolutely nowhere. Villa are splashing the cash this summer, aren't they? Anyways, the Ings signing has caused a lot of confusion in the FPL community as to where this leaves Watkins as an FPL asset for the coming season. Without much more information, we're all really unsure whether Watkins will go out wide now, a position he has played in the past, or whether Dean Smith will keep him as a striker and either rotate him or plump for a 2 up top, partnering Watkins and Ings together. Either way, Watkins could still prove to be a great pick. After all, he does have 3 good opening fixtures. He definitely knows where the goal is. He netted 14 times last season. He can also offer up an assist or 2 to his teammates, bagging 9 in the last campaign. With his added bonus points, he got 168 points, placing him 4th top for points in the forwards category in the game last season. It's for this reason, his good pre-season form and his cheap price tag of 7.5 million that I have made him my pick.
Massively hard luck on Nymfria for this one, because at the time of recording it was a really good pick. The Danny Ings situation is a problem. At the moment he's got a sort of amber flag as well, so there might be an injury to someone like Watkins. If you look at their fixtures, Villa as a team are worth having a little look at in the first 3 games. I would focus on the defence as opposed to the attacking setup, because maybe the chemistry won't be there straight off the bat with those guys, and with Watkins and Ings fighting it out for that central role and, you know, more options out wide on both sides. Not Nymfria's fault, of course, at all, but it is something to keep an eye on here, because I feel like Villa are going to have a good season, and if both those guys are going to get the team, and I expect them to do so, then there's still going to be attacking returns there for someone like Watkins.
So guys, it gets to me, JNO from FPL Today, and people have been spending a lot of the budget, so I've got to think about the people after me, because I'm just one of those nice guys. And I'm looking at Ayling purely because of his rotation with the Brighton defence. I think that helps the team out a lot and doesn't spend too much of the budget, so the other guys can get in on the action without having to pinch the pennies that much.
Hey, Suj from Planet FPL here. For my pick for the team, I have gone with Ismail Assar. I think 6 million is a good price for him. He offers a real good attacking threat for Watford this season. And I like to take a punt on 1 or 2 players from promoted teams. And he seems to be one of the best bets for me. So I'm going to go with him.
So by the time the reeling got to me, there wasn't a great deal of money left. That doesn't have to be a problem, because as many of you will know, I love a good 4 million option in FPL. Now, we're probably not going to have anybody quite as exciting as John Lundstrom, who we had a couple of years ago, but at Norwich, it does look as if we're going to have someone who's at the very least going to start games, Omar Bamadeli, who has been playing at centre-back for Norwich, and he's actually been playing there since the end of last season. A couple of injuries meant that this 19-year-old guy came into the team, started 8 or 9 games and did really well, even got man of the match in his first game for Norwich. And as I said, in pre-season, he's been playing a lot. In fact, he's played more minutes than any other Norwich player, let alone centre-back, because, of course, Grant Hanley and Ben Gibson are still coming back from injury. So it looks like he's set to start the season. And at 4 million, you can't really ask for much more.
People who are new to FPL will probably look at Omar Bamadeli and look at Norwich City, look at their opening fixtures and go, nah. Liverpool, Man City, Leicester, Arsenal. It's not fair at all, really, on them. The point here is that if you're trying to save some cash, ideally you want a 4 million option who can just sit on the bench, who isn't going to take up any more money than needs be. And that is why Dave chose Omar Bamadeli.
Hello, my name is FPL Mate or Dan, and my pick for this dream team is Josh Brownhill. In my opinion, the perfect 4.5 million budget enabler for your bench. Now, unlike a lot of the other 4.5 million midfielders, Josh Brownhill has that little bit of attacking potential that I quite like. So at the end of last season, he was playing just behind the striker in a kind of attacking midfield role, a role that he's played in pre-season as well. He got a couple of goals in the pre-season so far. He got a goal in the League Cup last year, and his goal scoring record in the Championship before he joined Burnley was really nice as well. So I think there's some real goal scoring potential here, whereas most of these 4.5 million midfielders, you don't have that. So that's why I really, really like Josh Brownhill to play as an attacking midfielder behind the striker in a 4-4-1-1 formation at Burnley. And you never know, he could also play on the wing. So potential here for an actual 4.5 million player that's going to get you points. And I love that.
Hello, I'm Ben from the FPL Graduates, and me and Josh have decided our goalkeeper is going to be Meslier of Leeds. And we believe this guy is going to take Emi Martinez's throne as a top point scorer for goalkeepers in FPL.
Our pick Meslier made an average of 4 saves per game last season, which is fantastic. It's one of the highest in the league. Alongside that, he kept 11 clean sheets, which is the same as Leicester City. So I think people may be undervaluing that Leeds defence, especially towards the second half of the season when they got those players back. So yeah, Meslier over Schmeichel without a doubt.
Hi, this is Josh Lander from the Always Trading Podcast. My ultimate squad builder pick is Watford's Daniel Bachmann. Bachmann, available for just 4.5 million FPL, an Austrian national, racked up 13 clean sheets and 23 starts after taking over Ben Foster at the midway point last season for Watford in the Championship. Watford have a great start to the season. They have an excellent opening 10 fixtures or so, and if you just pair Bachmann up with Ben Foster, the first 10 weeks, you're very safe. You can go all the way through to your first wild card, knowing that your goalkeeper problem is officially solved.
Absolutely humongous thank you to the FPL community. Absolutely every single person that you've just seen in this video, the link to their channel or Twitter account is down below. Go and check them out and go and subscribe to them. They're very good people and very knowledgeable about the game of football. Of course, the great thing about FPL that I didn't realize was that there's no right answers. There really is no right answers. So when I look to my team, which is in its current draft, and I think that's the thing to remember with this. With FPL, you've got to keep looking. We've seen this, even with trying to put this video together. Someone like Danny Ings, that drops. Robertson gets injured, and then all of a sudden you've got to make those changes. So as promised, I'm going to show you my current FPL draft. It may change. I might want to kind of try and save a little bit more money because at the moment I've spent every single penny. That might be dangerous, but I think I've got some clever little moves here that might add value to my squad because there might be players that go up in value over the first few weeks. And so goalkeepers, I'm going to go with Sanchez and Meslier. The reason I like those two is I think they're both guaranteed starters. I think FPL graduates have got a great point with Meslier. Makes saves and also leads at the back end of last season defensively got better and better and better. 11 clean sheets, as they said. I think he could have a really, really big season for them. I'm spending maybe a touch more than I would like, because normally I like to have a 4.5 as my starting goalkeeper. But Sanchez and Meslier, I think it's a really good option to have both of those. And for example, Sanchez would start my first game because he's got an easier game as opposed to Meslier. I said Meslier and Meslier. Meslier, isn't it? Here's where I save a little bit of money with my back line. I've got Shimmerkas in for those initial games. Of course, that's going to change when Robertson comes in. That could put me in a spot of bother, but I think I've got enough transfers to make the changes and enough depth in my squad. Ben White, I think, is great. He's such a great option this season. At 4.5, I expect Arsenal to be a lot better defensively this season than they were last season. I think Arteta's going to have so much more time to work with them. And I think Ben White's clearly going to start games. I think he could get some BPS as well, because I think he'll be involved on the ball a lot. I think he's a great shout at 4.5 for a starting player for Arsenal, who, as I said, I think will be better defensively. Alexander-Arnold, Sam from FPL Family, I think she's correct. Look, you've essentially got a right winger there who's taking a lot of set pieces as well. 7.5 is a lot, but you know you're guaranteed assists, and I expect Liverpool to have a much better season this season. I'm splashing the cash on Matty Cash. I think Aston Villa's opening games are quite nice, and I think we might be able to get some good returns there. He's maybe a touch too pricey. I don't know. You know, a 5, it's a weird bracket, but I want to put him in there. And then I'll be honest, Veltman at 4.5. Brighton, their XG last season was really, really good. I just think they could have a good season defensively if they get a little bit more luck. They control games with their passing as well. And if Veltman's playing, although he'll generally probably sit on the bench, I think he's a good option for me. In midfield, now my strategy this season is to really pack that midfield with points. You know, that's where you're going to get the most value in terms of the points that you can get each week, because you can have midfielders who score week in, week out. So that's why I'm going for Son, who... Let's Talk FPL, Andy from that channel, put him forward. Fernandez, they've got a nice little run at the start, and I think he'll continue to hit the ground running. Will take penalties as well. Salah, as you know, was my pick right at the start. And Emil Smith-Rowe, again, I think there's real value in the Arsenal team at the moment if you can pick the right guys. He's been given that number 10 shirt, 5.5 million. That's incredibly cheap for a number 10 for a team that should be in the top 6, 7, 8, right? And then Rafinha. Rafinha was absolutely brilliant last season. I think he'll continue to do that. He is that guy that they go to for that creative spark, and he delivered last season, and I'm happy to go with him again. 6.5 million, I think, is a good shout for him. Up top where it might be a little bit more interesting. Now, I needed to try and get Son into the team, so I had to go pretty cheap here. I've gone with Antonio, guaranteed starter, is always a nuisance, could be a problem if he gets injured, but if he does, then there's someone like Iheanacho at 7.5 as well. He was someone that I was toying with. Ivan Toney, I'm going to give him that opportunity at the start of the season, but it might be one that I move away from pretty quickly, as I could imagine a lot of other people do as well. But he does take penalties for the team as well, so he's a good option to have. And then Parika, that's literally the first time I've ever said that name in my life, because I was just trying to get someone as cheap as possible. That's part of the game as well sometimes. Sometimes you just need to get a cheap enabler to give you the money to allow someone like Son to be in your team, because I think, look, if Harry Kane moves, Son is going to be taking penalties for Spurs. And then in my side, I've got Fernandez, Salah, Son, Toney, all taking penalties for me. I think that could be really, really useful in my team this season. So that's my team at the moment. It could literally change completely in just a second. So as I said, keep an eye on your team. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to the FPL community. Get yourselves involved. Check out the links in the description. If you enjoyed this video, do consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button. Let me know your team down below, of course, and I'll see you next time.